They were more than just movie stars. They were gods and goddesses of the silver screen. In an era when cinema was new, they weren't just acting. They were inventing the very idea of what a film star could be. They had no social media, no reality shows, no way to connect with us except through the magic of a flickering light in a dark theater. And yet, their charisma was so powerful, their presence so immense, that they became larger than life. Tonight, we're stepping back into the golden age to explore the lives of four legends who didn't just star in films, they defined them. We'll uncover the secrets behind Charlie Chaplin's tragic genius, the irresistible charm of Clark Gable, the mysterious allure of Greta Garbo, and the effortless sophistication of Cary Grant. We'll reveal how their off-screen lives were often as dramatic as their on-screen roles, and how their legacies continue to shape cinema today. Hello and welcome. When we talk about cinema, we're really talking about a history of faces, and few faces are as iconic as the ones we're celebrating tonight. These are the people who built the very foundation of the movie star system. Let's start with a man who, in many ways, was the first true global superstar, Charlie Chaplin, the tragic genius. He was the little tramp with the funny walk and the sad eyes. But before he was the most famous man on earth, Charlie Chaplin was a boy from the slums of Victorian London. His childhood was one of unimaginable poverty, with a father who was a drunkard and a mother who struggled with her mental health. He and his brother, Sidney, were in and out of workhouses. It was a life of hardship, and it's from this pain that Chaplin drew his most profound art. He learned to find the humor in tragedy, a quality that would become the hallmark of his work. Chaplin found his way to America and the chaotic world of Keystone Studios. In a brilliant, spontaneous moment, he created the Tramp, a character with the clothes of a hobo, but the soul of a gentleman. He wasn't just another slapstick comedian. His films, like The Kid and City Lights, blended side-splitting comedy with genuine, heartbreaking emotion. He pioneered pathos in comedy, making us laugh and cry in the same breath. His brilliance, however, came with a cost. He was a perfectionist to an almost obsessive degree. He would shoot a single scene 100 times, driving his co-stars to the brink. But his biggest battle was with technology. When sound came to Hollywood, Chaplin feared it would destroy the universal language of pantomime. He famously resisted the talkies, releasing City Lights in 1931 as a silent film, years after the world had moved on. It was a testament to his artistry, and its final scene remains one of the most powerful moments in all of cinema. His refusal to conform, along with his controversial personal life and left-leaning politics, eventually led to his exile from the United States. He was a paradox, a global icon, who was also a lonely outsider. Clark Gable, the King of Hollywood. If Chaplin was the poet of the silent screen, then Clark Gable was the undeniable king of sound. He was the quintessential man's man with a playful grin and a swagger that could fill a stadium. He wasn't born into it. He had to work for it. Gable's early years were spent toiling in oil fields and lumber camps before he found his way to Hollywood. He was initially rejected by the studios, told his ears were too big, but his raw, masculine charisma was too powerful to ignore. In the 1930s, Gable became the face of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, the biggest studio in the world. He starred in a string of smash hits, but it was his role as Rhett Butler in Gone with the Wind that made him a legend. He was the perfect Rhett, cynical, charming, and utterly in control.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
The film's iconic last line, "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn," was delivered with a casual confidence that cemented his status as a cinematic icon. The line almost didn't make it into the film, as it violated the strict censorship of the time, but director Victor Fleming fought for it, and it became one of the most famous lines in history. Off-screen, Gable's life was a whirlwind of celebrity and tragedy. His love affair with actress Carole Lombard was a real-life romance that captivated the world. But her death in a plane crash during World War II left him devastated. He enlisted in the Army Air Forces, flying combat missions and risking his life for his country, a testament to the rugged patriotism he often portrayed on screen. Gable's charm was a defining force in Hollywood, a raw magnetism that few have ever matched. Greta Garbo, the enigmatic goddess. Now let's talk about the woman who defined mystery. She was the polar opposite of Gable's outgoing charm. Greta Garbo was an enigma, a cinematic goddess who famously said, "I want to be alone." Born in Sweden, she was discovered by director Moritz Stiller and brought to Hollywood, where she became a silent film sensation. Her face was a canvas of emotion with a power that could hold an audience in silence. When sound came, Hollywood feared she wouldn't be able to make the transition. They were wrong. Her voice was a deep, mesmerizing contralto that only added to her allure. Her first speaking role in Anna Christie was marketed with the famous tagline, "Garbo Talks." She became one of the few silent stars to successfully transition and even thrive in the new era. Garbo was known for her refusal to participate in the Hollywood publicity machine. She hated interviews, avoided premieres, and was notoriously private. She created a mystique that made her even more alluring to the public. She retired from acting at the peak of her career at the age of 36, disappearing from the public eye for the next 50 years. Her reclusiveness only enhanced her legend. She was the one star who truly understood that absence makes the heart grow fonder. She was proof that in an age of constant exposure, true stardom lay in the power of the unknown. Cary Grant, the charismatic chameleon. Finally, we have the man who was so debonair and charming that he became the very definition of a leading man, Cary Grant. The irony, of course, is that the man we knew as Cary Grant was actually Archibald Leach, a boy from Bristol, England, who had a difficult, impoverished upbringing. He learned his trade as a vaudeville acrobat, developing the physical grace and impeccable timing that would later define his comedic performances. Archibald Leach reinvented himself as Cary Grant, creating a character that was the height of elegance and sophistication. But underneath the perfect suit and the polished accent was a master of physical comedy and quick wit. Grant could be the charming rogue in a screwball comedy like Bringing Up Baby, or a suave spy in a thriller like North by Northwest, and he made both look effortless. He was a chameleon, capable of playing any role while still remaining quintessentially Cary Grant. Off-screen, he was a complex and deeply private man. He was known for his eccentricities and his commitment to his craft. He was one of the first actors to go freelance, freeing himself from the restrictive studio system and paving the way for future generations of actors to have more control over their careers. He retired in 1966 at the height of his fame to focus on his family. His decision to leave Hollywood on his own terms cemented his legacy as a man who was always in control of his own destiny. These legends, Chaplin, Gable, Garbo, and Grant, didn't just act in films. They created the blueprint for what a movie star could be. They were the original architects of on-screen charisma. the pioneers who turned a new medium into a global phenomenon. Their faces, their voices, and their stories are woven into the very fabric of cinema. They were giants, and their shadows still stretch long over the Hollywood we know today.